Hi everyone. Let's take a look at a couple of examples on how we decide which trig ratio we use or should use to find the length of an unknown side. So we have three choices. We can use sine, cosine, or tangent. So the first thing we want to do is sort of label our triangle. Now, they've given us the angle B. So I'm going to label the triangle relative to angle B. So if we go the side opposite that angle, here it's side B, we're going to label that as the opposite. The side opposite the 90-degree angle is always the hypotenuse, and this final side will be the adjacent. Now they're asking us to find the length of B. So that's one of the sides that I need to include in my ratio. Now the other side I choose in my ratio, I want to have a number, because if I don't have a number, then I can't solve, right? I'll have two unknowns. The goal is when we solve something, we only want one thing unknown. So the hypotenuse is unknown in this case, right? It's just labeled C. So I want to include the adjacent side because it is given me the length of that adjacent side as 8 meters. So now I know that I want to include the O and the A in order to solve this problem. And so when I write down SOHCAHTOA to help me remember my trig ratios, I want to choose the one that includes both O and A and does not include the H. Well, we can see here that SO for sine, that has an H, I can't use that. Ka for cosine, that also has an H, I can't use that. Tangent has the opposite and the adjacent, so that's the ratio that I want to use. So for this question, it's asking which trig ratio would we use to find the length of B. We would use the tangent ratio to find the length of B. Let's look at another example. Here they're asking us which trig ratio would you use to find the length of Y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I see that they're giving me angle 38, so I'm going to label my triangle relative to that angle. So if I go to the opposite side, that's going to be O. If I go opposite the 90-degree, that's going to be the hypotenuse. And this final side is going to be the adjacent. Now they want me to find the length of Y. And so Y is my adjacent side. So my trig ratio will have to include the adjacent side. And then I want to choose one more side where I know the number, I know the length. In this case, I'm going to be choosing the hypotenuse because I know that it has a length of 12 centimeters. So when I write down SOHCAHTOA, I want to find a ratio that includes both A and H. And in this case, we're going to be using Ka, which is the cosine. Okay, so because cosine is the ratio of adjacent to hypotenuse, which are the sides that I've highlighted, that's going to be the ratio that I would use to solve for the side length Y. One more example here. Which trig ratio would you use to find the length of X? So again, I see that they've given me angle 51 degrees for angle X. So I'm going to label the side opposite that angle as the opposite side. The side opposite the 90-degree is the hypotenuse, and the final side is adjacent. I want to find side X, so I'm going to need to use a ratio that includes the opposite side, and they've given me the length of the hypotenuse, so I want to use a ratio that also includes the hypotenuse. So if I write down SOHCAHTOA and I look to see which one has O and H, that is going to be SO. Okay, so H is there and O is there. So that means we are going to use the sine